This is NTV.
NTV at 1. Now, ex-sports CS Rashid Echesa has this morning been arrested by detectives and taken to the DCI headquarters for questioning. Echesa is in interrogation as we speak on suspicions of fraudulent dealings. This is not the first time Echesa is being suspected of crime, and Mel Miendo, who is currently at the DCI headquarters, will be joining us with an update of what's going on Kiambu Road. Now, to other day top stories, the BBI task force today kicked off the second phase of collecting views from Kenyans ahead of the implementation of the report. The team says the session is a validation process of the views it collected in the first phase. Today, the team listened to submissions from the Ministry of Public Service, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the Multi-Sectoral Forum on Anti-Corruption, as well as the Women Caucus Group. Let's listen in.
You have captured the need to demystify the presidency, and you have stated that there is a perception that people relate the presidency to resource allocation. Now, if you go to the BBI report, especially the chapter on devolution, it has made several proposals on how to devolve the resources allocated to counties to the wards. And two, there's also a proposal to increase the allocation from 15% to between 35 and 50%. And people have debated on what percentage that should be. My question is, have you considered how those proposals under the devolution chapter have either have done to demystify that issue of the resource allocation and how people relate it to the presidency? Are those recommendations sufficient? I don't know whether you considered them, and how the people then would feel that resources have actually been allocated in a way that they feel adequately represented.
Thank you.
Please
go straight to the question, no explanations because of time.
Most certainly. Thank you so much for the presentation. Mine is on safety and security. And the question really here will be, we see that you're saying we need to strengthen communities and community-based organizations on how to gather and provide intelligence. Just will be interesting to see perhaps how this can be done in terms of the direct intervention that you will be keen to see, especially because we do have Nyumba Kumi that's not so bad, it's working well, but we also have security agencies. So where do you draw the line so that then you're not empowering people to the extent that now they also become a force unto themselves?
Okay, we will also take two members. Please be brief. I also had some questions. Okay, there will be three. Emeritus.
Well, that is a session where the BBI task force is taking in the second phase of views from the public. A few stakeholders have already gone through the process, and this will go on for the rest of the day. We shall keep you updated on the happenings coming from that sitting in our subsequent bulletins. Now, residents of Kahawa Wendani in Kiambu County are in mourning after receiving news of the sudden death of the area MC Cyrus Omondi alias Gearbox, who died in Mumbai, India. The member of the County Assembly had reportedly traveled to India on official duty with the Educational Department Committee, of which he is the chair. The circumstances leading to his death are still unclear, and a post-mortem is set to be conducted to determine the cause of his death. Kahawa Wendani residents reminisced the last moments they shared with their leader at a function where bursaries were issued to needy students. Residents have eulogized Cyrus Omondi as a humble and dedicated servant in his ward. Elsewhere, Jubilee Secretary General, that is Raphael Tuju, is still admitted in the intensive care unit at the Karen Hospital and is under sedation. Tuju was airlifted from the Kijabe Hospital yesterday after being involved in a car crash. Doctors are monitoring the CS and NTV can confirm that his vital organs are stable. Following yesterday morning's road accident in Magina along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway, Tuju alongside 17 others were injured and hospitalized immediately at the Kijabe Hospital, where he underwent surgery. His black Prado was involved in a head-on collision with a 14-seater matatu and a third vehicle which was driving behind him. Two of Tuju's aides were also airlifted to Nairobi for treatment, while the rest of the casualties are being treated at the Kijabe Hospital. Back to a top story, an ex-sports CS, Rashid Chesa, has this morning been arrested by detectives and taken to the DCI headquarters for questioning. Chesa is in interrogation as we speak on suspicions of fraudulent dealings. This is not the first time, I beg your pardon, that Chesa is being suspected of crime. And Mel Miendo is now joining us with the latest coming from the DCI headquarters. Mel?
Gladys, Rashid Chesa was brought in at about 10:30, 11 a.m. here at DCI headquarters, and he's still being interrogated by detectives from the Serious Crimes Unit. And so what we've been able to gather is that, although it's not quite confirmed, but we have been told that Chesa was brought in with regards to fraud. And this is involving the Kenyan government together with other governments, international governments as well, with specific regard to the country of Turkey. So what we have been told is that Chesa brought in some nationals from the Turkish countries, and so he actually was saying that he may be able to provide arms, provide ammunition. This is guns and other weapons. And so he was saying that he would actually do that on behalf of the Kenyan government. And so that is why he's been brought here to the DCI headquarters, because he was actually asking for a 10% commission from these Turkish nationals. And so that is why detectives have brought him here, and that is why they are interrogating him as it is. So as we know, we are waiting to see whether Rashid Chesa will come out and probably speak to the media, but we are aware that, of course, this is a really grave issue. It does not only involve the Kenyan government, but it also involves the government of Turkey. And with regards to ammunition, the Kenyan government says there's not been any dealing with Rashid Chesa on the issue of ammunitions, providing ammunitions to countries, dealing with arms dealers from different countries. And so that is why he's brought in. In fact, when we entered inside the DCI headquarters, we saw Rashid Chesa, and he was together with detectives from the Serious Crime Unit. There were about 4 Turkish nationals with him as well, and so many people who were surrounding him. He was actually handcuffed at the time when he was brought in. We are told that he was also in Kilimani police station before he was brought in here to DCI headquarters. So that is what we've been able to gather. We're still waiting to see whether he will be coming out, whether he'll be speaking to the media, or whether he'll actually be taken back to the Kilimani police station. And so we are also asking to find out maybe more from detectives here at the DCI headquarters with regards to just exactly what will happen to Chesa after this.
Thank you, Mel Miendo, coming to us from the DCI headquarters, where ex-sports CS Rashid Chesa is under interrogation on suspicions of fraudulent dealings. Clearly something we'll be keeping an eye on, and Mel will give us more details as and when she receives them. Now, up to other day top stories, and the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has emphasized on the need to establish constitutional bodies to appoint members to the constitutional commissions instead of using panels of recruitment. Muturi says that this is the only way such commissions can be held accountable. At the same time, National Assembly Majority Leader Aden Duale says Parliament will not allocate monies to commissions that fail to submit their quarterly annual reports to Parliament.
All of us must abide by the Constitution. So I think commissions, please be independent as per the Constitution. Don't violate. Secondly, and more important, you do reports to Parliament. You do quarterly reports to Parliament and its committees. Going forward, if you don't do your report, we will not allocate you resources in the budget.
Please help us to do away with the panels. We want, as the leader of majority said, if it is a public appointment, let it be done by a legally constituted body like the Public Service Commission, because we can then be able to hold them to account. When you say you're setting up a panel, alafu narokota watu huko, naweka huyu, naweka ule mwingine. Sasa wakimaliza ile wataleta, just like that's why we go wrong even with the IBC, by the way. This other thing you are doing around the villages, yeah? You're calling it the BBI. I hope it can address that problem.
To the corridors of justice, Joseph Irungu alias Joey has been released on a cash bail of 2 million shillings or 3 million bond after prosecution failed to produce evidence on why police need to detain him further. Joey had been allegedly linked to the murder of business lady Monica Kimani, co-accused with former journalist Jackie Maribe. He had earlier requested for a cash bail, but his request was denied by Justice Wakiaga on grounds that he is a flight risk. And residents of Kipsingori in Cherengani constituency have called upon the government to inspect private dams in the area, claiming that they have become death traps. This comes a day in the recent in the future.
Haruko direct ndani. Tukaona na mkono juu kama ameshindwa nini. Mimi nikaingia ndani kujaribu kumshika. Yeye akanifuta akanishika hapo hivi. Tukapambana naye ndani huko, tukapotelea ndani huko. Mimi nikamwacha ndani huko hivi. Mimi nikatafuta usaidizi kwa ndugu yangu fulani. Nikatafuta usaidizi akanifuta.
Na sio moja, kuna ingine hapa, kuna ingine hapo. Karibu iko 5.
Nataka serikali ikakuwe madamu sa huku. Iwe kama serikali ikakuwe kama iko sawa kwa sababu ya ulinzi ya wananchi ili wasipoteze maisha katika zile damu.
Now, how safe is your child while at school? Well, this is probably one of the most common questions that parents ask themselves whenever their children leave for school. For a family in Thika, this question yielded the worst answer after their 3-year-old daughter was allegedly defiled by a teacher. The school has, however, denied those claims, and Rose Mathuku brings us more.
In her single-roomed house in Thika Kiganja, we meet Wamboi. She says her daughter came home from school bleeding, and upon further medical examination at Thika Level 5 Hospital, it was confirmed that the child had been defiled.
Yeye anasema huyo mtu alinifanyia hivyo kwa choo. So haja identify, tukienda shule ako scary, yani hata haezi ongea, ako na uoga. Ni kama alisema asiseme, aliambiwa asiseme.
Wamboi says her 3-year-old daughter said the molester took advantage of her while at school. The school has, however, denied the claims.
So wakati alitoka, ndivyo aliniambia nimsevie sasa hiyo shule yake. That same very day. Mimi nikamwambia kama itarudisha usichana wa mtoto wangu, nitarudisha shule yake.
The mother of one is now calling for justice as she is receiving threats from the school owner. She says even after reporting the matter at Makongeni police station, no suspect has been apprehended. Rose Mathuku, NTV.
Very, very unfortunate indeed. Now, 62% of men in informal settlements have never seen a man clean a house. This is according to the survey that was carried out by Oxfam organization, and the organization, which focuses on policy research and gender equality, states that unpaid care and domestic work by women is a cause for concern. This is because the report found that 55% of women who perform domestic tasks have incurred an injury or an illness while undertaking the tasks. The report also found that women spend 11 hours per day performing household tasks compared to men who spend less than 3 hours per day. The survey was carried out in Mathare, Kibera, Mukuru, Korogosho and Kawangware areas.
To be believe that if we have more revenue within the country and it's managed well, that we can be able to address some of the structural issues of poverty and inequality.
And we are talking about economic empowerment, women economic empowerment. At the end of the day, I'm not putting in as many hours as the men are. Yet, we are competing for the same, when it comes to prices in the market, we are facing the same prices.
To the coast now, a cruise ship with 600 tourists and over 300 crew members aboard has docked at the port of Mombasa in what's viewed as a boost for the tourism industry. Marco Polo from Zanzibar arrived at around 6 a.m. this morning, and due to the heightening concerns over the outbreak of the coronavirus, everyone on board the vessel was screened before disembarking. The Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director Daniel Manduku maintains that all points of entry for the vessels have been equipped with surveillance equipment to monitor the virus. The tourists arrived at a time the Ministry of Tourism is preparing to commission an ultra-modern cruise ship terminal at the port of Mombasa. The ship is expected to depart tomorrow for the Seychelles.
We have the port health, they're on board. Before any passenger disembarks, there's very rigorous screening on board. I myself have gone through it even before I went in. But at the port of Mombasa, we've already issued a circular, and we've issued regulations and guidelines on how to treat suspects in line with the provisions of the Health Act. Where we suspect that there is an incident, we have got facilities to quarantine you, and thereafter we've got experts, even at the port, who are able to diagnose and treat, and eventually either transfer you to medical facilities in Mombasa or out of Mombasa. But I want to report that we've not had any incidents.
Now, as the ceremony to see off the late Mzee Moi was going on in Kabarak, Kenyans in other towns gathered to follow the same through the live TV coverage. Lois Wangoi reports.
A big screen in Eldoret town served the needs of the people of Uasin Gishu County. Kenyans congregated in large numbers at this junction along the Eldoret-Malaba Highway to join in a send-off ceremony of Mzee Moi in Kabarak.
Nimeona historia katika nchi hii, watu wamependana. Nimeona kwamba waendelee kuhika mfano hiyo ili tuishi kama taifa kwa njia mzuri.
This public screen erected by the county government of Uasin Gishu years back allows Eldoret residents to follow breaking news in the country. Today, many who were already in town for work spared a few hours to join the country and the Moi family in laying the late president to rest virtually.
Viongozi wetu wa taifa letu, tunaomba isiwe ndio sababu ya tujigawe, iwe ndio sababu ya Wakenya wote, muunganisha Wakenya na tuungane sote.
In Sacho area of a neighboring Baringo County, the government had made preparations for the residents to follow the burial of Mzee Moi virtually, as Mzee Moi was a son of Sacho. Here, a tented sitting area complete with TV screens showing the event live were provided. Here, 11 bulls were slaughtered in accordance to Tugen traditions to celebrate the life and times of Mzee Moi as a retired president and a Kalenjin elder. Lois Wangoi, NTV, Eldoret.
Definitely, that was a report even as we followed the proceedings of the burial of the late former President Daniel Arap Moi. Now back to the coast and a look at the agriculture sector, and residents of Garashi in Magarini, Kilifi County have taken up irrigated farming as a way of sustaining themselves and surviving the harsh weather conditions they live under. The more than 200 farmers say they have started reaping the benefits of the investment.
Maslin Kadi's life has changed for the better. She started engaging in irrigated agriculture 2 years ago at her home in Karimboni village, Kilifi County. She was introduced to the project by a friend who took her for the training.
Nikaanza kulima polepole, nikipanda vitu kidogo kidogo. Tunapata ufadhili wa mbegu kutoka kwa county, kutoka kwa mashirika. Nikaanza kupanda, nikivuna. Mimi sikuajiriwa, nimeajiriwa tu na shamba langu. Na naona sasa hii nimepiga hatua, nimeweza kujengea watoto kanyumba.
The area sits along River Sabaki and faces harsh climatic condition where rainfall is very minimal and unbearable.
Serikali ikaingilia kati kupitia kudai kupitia bunge la mwananchi. Kwa sasa hivi imefanywa piping, watu wanalima pale wakitumia mashine ambazo zimefadhiliwa na county.
The irrigation project heavily relies on the River Sabaki as a source of water. The county government says it has invested heavily in irrigated agriculture in order to cushion its farmers and is currently installing equipment on a 200-acre piece of land. Halima Gongo, NTV.
Apartments along Kiambu Road, Ngong Road, Mbagathi Way and Wayaki Way registered the largest price decline amongst housing units between the third and fourth quarters of 2019 as the real estate market continues to witness a general price decline. This is according to the Kenya Bankers Association Housing Price Index, which indicated that overall housing prices declined for the fourth consecutive quarter between October and December 2019. KBA Head of Research, that is Jared Osoro, says the market will continue to witness declining prices in the coming quarters.
Negative prices, and that to us is a clear signal of a correction that is happening in the market, and therefore speaking to how demand and supply dynamics have adjusted in the circumstances making the market start looking downward.
We take a short break, but we'll be back with much more on NTV at 1. Stay with us.
Inakwambia bibi kuna mdenge fulani bibi hapo na nywele refu yani. Kuna ngoko fulani bibi amemezali yake hadi So jadu madona na kutupinya mtu mbao. Mimi nimemjenga dhao gari ilikuwa salasa akaniambia nimjenge 710 na batina dhati yangu.
The way this position is tiring. Nimechoka.
Who's that? Ni shosho fulani hapa hivi.
Ati shosho.
Call for long at 1 shilling 50 cents to all networks.
Cartelo!
Dial star 544 hash to subscribe. Telcom, moving with you.
Fit Me Foundation from Maybelline, New York. Fits your unique tone and texture. Blurs pores. Stop shine. For your most natural matte. Fit Me Matte and Poreless, only from Maybelline, New York.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts. And a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with new Blue Band Peanut Butter.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Building tips for high-rise buildings should be bought from reliable sources. Strength of the cement must be a minimum of 42.5. Sufficient curing time with constant pouring of water. Must be kept certified. Exactly 50 kilograms guaranteed in each bag.
Adding strength to Kenya's landmarks. Power for specialized constructions. Cementing the nation's future. Simba Cement, the strength and pride of Kenya.
Now also produced in Nakuru and Mombasa.
Inakwambia bibi kuna mdenge fulani bibi hapo na nywele refu yani. Kuna ngoko fulani bibi amemezali yake hadi So jadu madona na kutupinya mtu mbao. Mimi nimemjenga dhao gari ilikuwa salasa akaniambia nimjenge 710 na batina dhati yangu.
The way this position is tiring. Nimechoka.
Who's
that?
Ni shosho fulani hapa hivi.
Ati shosho.
Call for long at 1 shilling 50 cents to all networks.
Cartelo!
Dial star 544 hash to subscribe. Telkom, moving with you.
This is Fact Finder from the BBC.
Conspiracy theories and misinformation about coronavirus is spreading fast online. But what is the truth?
A Sierra Leonean journalist tells us the challenges of delinking satirical work from misinformation.
We tell you how Twitter is fighting back against deepfakes and other misinformation.
And did a Kenyan mother thank an atheist society for paying her son's school fees?
How? That doesn't make sense. How?
Well, find out in True or False.
An e-slip number or a new establishment code should be used as a reference when making payments to allow for the processing of 2% levy remittance. Remember to file your 2% tourism levy on or before the 10th of each month.
Welcome back. Staying with health matters, the World Health Organization says it is too early to predict the end of the coronavirus disease, newly named COVID-19. This is even as the reported global confirmed cases and deaths show a spike in numbers in the past 24 hours.
The UN Health Agency on Wednesday cautioned it was way too early to say whether COVID-19 might have peaked or when it might end.
There are already 4 vaccine candidates in development, and it's likely that there will be 1 or 2 that will go into human trials in about 3 to 4 months from now. So that itself would be a very rapid progress.
The virus has killed more than 1,100 people and infected over 44,000 since it was first detected on December 31st. According to the Global Health Body, it has managed to track down the sources of transmission in almost all the 441 cases of the virus outside of China, with 8 exceptions. Tedros also praised Cambodia for agreeing to take the Westerdam, a U.S. cruise ship that has been rejected at several Asian ports over coronavirus fears.
Is not stigmatizing a country or attacking a country, but stand in solidarity and fight against this common enemy, COVID-19, or the virus. We have to fight it in unison, as humanity.
Some 300 scientists and donors gathered in Geneva on Tuesday and Wednesday for the first international conference on the virus hosted by WHO. 4 candidate vaccines against the virus that are being funded through the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations were discussed.
As of this morning, only 8 cases globally. We could not find a plausible explanation for their exposure. So on a global level, we have a good view on this virus, certainly in terms of the existing transmission chains. And we have tracked each and every event, each and every transmission across borders.
The first vaccine that was likely to go into human trial in April was the one being developed by US-based Moderna Therapeutics in conjunction with the US National Institutes of Health.
South Africa, and once again it is facing one of the worst droughts in decades, deepening the climate crisis. The country has posted a record temperature rise where average temperatures have been rising twice as fast as a global mean. This has in turn led to the deaths of more than 1,000 heads of livestock in the Northern Cape. South Africa's entire Kalahari region continues to suffer from a drop in tourist bookings since popular activities like bush hunting and tours have been halted due to dwindling animal numbers. Farmers in the region are currently spending to an excess of 4 million shillings a month on processed feeds, trying to keep the animals they have left alive. Time now for the sporting action. Sean Cadavillis is in studio.
Thank you very much, Gladys. A very good afternoon to you. Now, the coronavirus continues to play havoc with international events in Asia, with the Hong Kong and Singapore Sevens tournaments being postponed, and that's due to concerns about the spread of the virus. Both events will be rescheduled to conclude the HSBC World Rugby Sevens series, with the Singapore Sevens now taking place on the 10th and 11th of October, while the Hong Kong Sevens will complete the series on the 16th to the 18th of October. However, both tournaments will be scheduled as per usual in April. Now, this comes a day after the FIA accepted a request from organizers to postpone April's Chinese Grand Prix in Shanghai, and that's due to the coronavirus outbreak. Meanwhile, the Tokyo Olympic organizers have stressed that they are not considering scrapping the Games due to the coronavirus and blasted irresponsible rumors to the contrary. Now, with only 162 days to go until the opening ceremony, concerns have been raised about Japan's hosting of the Games, with the virus spreading throughout Asia.
Then, of course, we have unexpected issues to deal with, and for example the coronavirus outbreak is one event, and we're looking forward to hearing today from the Japanese government, the TMG, and your own organisation on the work that you're doing in collaboration with the World Health Organisation, and to ensure that all of the athletes and all of the people who come to Japan for the Games are not going to be affected, and that all of the necessary precautions are being taken.
Football news: Juventus will take on AC Milan tonight at the second semi-final of the Coppa Italia at the San Siro. Wednesday night saw Napoli edge Inter Milan 1-0 in the first leg of their semi-final at the San Siro.